called the Tappletons. There was Mr. Tappleton, Mrs. Tappleton, Jenny, and Kenny. Thanksgiving at the Tappletons was always a big day. Grandma and Grandpa Tappleton and Aunt Sue and Uncle Matt were coming, and there was a lot to do. It was still dark when Mrs. Tappleton lit the oven and took the big turkey out of the refrigerator. Just then, someone knocked on the kitchen door. It was Mike, their neighbor.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. I brought you some orange juice. I brought it to your dad.
Just as Mrs. Tappleton reached for the orange juice, the turkey slipped from under her arm. Now, on a warmer day, this might not have been a problem, but this Thanksgiving day was quite cold and the step was covered with ice. Before she or Mike could even think, the turkey had slithered into the yard.
Get it!
Get it.
Mike reached, but the turkey skidded past him through the gate and into the street. Mike chased the turkey, Mrs. Tappleton chased Mike, and the turkey slid down the hill into the pond.
Hurry, get the turkey!
Plop! It bubbled out of sight.
Well, sorry I didn't get to it in time. Good luck with the rest of the meal.
Thanks.
Again, happy Thanksgiving.
When Mr. Tappleton came down to breakfast, he took a long sniff.
I don't smell the turkey.
I think you have a cold.
I know I don't.
Mrs. Tappleton shook some pepper in the air.
See, you do have a cold.
After breakfast, Mr. Tappleton put on his scarf and hat.
Honey, I'm going to get the pies.
Okay, well, I hope you have some boots on because it's really slippery out there.
The bakery was so crowded that the line reached out into the sidewalk. Mr. Tappleton hated to wait in long lines, so he went to the coffee shop for a cup of coffee. By the time he got back, the line was gone, and so were the pies. No pumpkin, no mince, no rhubarb, nothing. Mr. Tappleton was afraid to go home with nothing.
2 empty boxes tied in string, please.
You mean 2 empty boxes?
Yes, yes.
Oh, there you are. Thank you. My, these pies are light.
Indeed. The bakery prides itself on making the lightest of pies.
Kenny? It's time to make the salad. The lettuce is in the crisper, and there's carrots and radishes. You just have to peel them and cut them up.
Kenny's face grew pale. Just yesterday, he had emptied the crisper and fed all the rabbits in Mr. Butterworth's class. How could he tell his mother? He couldn't. So he covered the empty salad bowl with aluminum foil and stuck it in the back of the refrigerator. When the others went to pick up the relatives at the train station, Jenny stayed behind to mash the potatoes. Every year, this was her job. She loved it.
This year I'll make them even better. I'll use the blender.
Just as Jenny flicked on the switch, her phone rang. It was her best friend, Nora. If there's one thing Jenny loved to do better than mashed potatoes, it was talk. Jenny talked and talked and talked to Nora, and then she still might be talking today had not a wet lump of something hit her on the back of the head. She turned to see what it was. Splat, another lump hit her in the face. The blender was going wild and mashed potatoes were flying everywhere. Without saying goodbye to Nora, Jenny hung up the phone, scrubbed her face, and wiped the mashed potatoes from nearly everywhere in the kitchen. She finished just as the others came back.
because we always have so much to eat.
Everyone sat down at the table.
Molly always makes the best turkey.
Do you know that Benjamin Franklin wanted the turkey to be our national symbol?
Never mind about that. I'm famished. Let's get started.
As soon as the turkey is ready, I'll get back to our meal, and then we can get started.
I'm as hungry as two elephants.
Mr. Tappleton went to the oven.
I'll go ahead and carve the turkey.
He opened the oven door.
There's no turkey!
Mr. Tappleton searched on the table and under the table and in every kitchen cabinet. He looked in the sink and the broom closet.
I can't find the turkey anywhere.
Mrs.
Won't you take the turkey?
Mrs. Tappleton took a deep breath. She told them how their flying turkey had slipped out the door and down the steps and across the yard and through the gate and down the street and flop, splash, into the pond.
So much for the turkey.
Did I tell you that in 1621, the Pilgrims didn't eat turkey at the first Thanksgiving either? They ate goose.
Never mind about that. I'm famished. Let's get started.
We'll fill up on trimmings.
I'll get the salad, then grandmother can say thanks.
Jenny got the salad out of the refrigerator, placed the bowl on the table, and peeled off the aluminum foil. Everyone stared at the salad that was not there.
I fed the rabbits at school, you know. Vegetables are really good for rabbits.
So much for the salad.
His stomach rumbled again.
I'm as hungry as five elephants.
I know, we'll get James and potatoes.
Kenny brought the pot from the kitchen to the table and lifted the lid.
I was on the phone and the blender went wild. It wasn't my fault.
So much for the potatoes.
Uncle Matt's stomach rumbled even more.
I'm as hungry as six elephants.
The pies. I'll get the pies.
I'll say thanks as soon as the pies are cut.
The pies were put on the table.
You brought home 2 empty boxes?
Well, they were all out of pies, and I didn't want to disappoint anyone.
I'm as hungry as seven elephants.
I guess no one cares that I skipped breakfast.
No pies, no potatoes, no salad, and no turkey.
The dining room was quiet. Everyone looked down at the empty table. Uncle Matt muttered something, but it could not be heard above the rumble of the stomach.
No Thanksgiving dinner.
Nothing to say thanks for.
Of course there's something to say thanks for. Thanksgiving is more than a turkey and trimmings.
And then grandmother asked everyone to hold hands around the dining room table, and this is what she said.
Turkeys come and turkeys go. And trimmings get lost, you know. But we're together. That's what matters. Not what's served upon platters.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Mrs. Tappleton jumped up.
Peanut butter and jelly. We have peanut butter and jelly.
I'll make sandwiches.
I'll get better pretzels.
Yeah, open a jar of applesauce for dessert.
So the Tappletons had their Thanksgiving dinner after all, and Grandpa Tappleton ate enough sandwich to feed 8 elephants. In fact, everyone had plenty to eat. Most of all, they had each other.
Please recite our poem with us.